Welcome, 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 everyone, to another adventure into reality. Today is going to be a live call in show as we let the room fill up for a moment here. And we let everybody come in. And for all those that want to learn how to raise your hand, simply click on that participants button and click on the three dots, or you should see raise hand. Now, if you're listening on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, or anywhere else and want to be a part of the call-in list with the Wheel of Callers that is run by Robert, you must be in the Zoom room. Robert will put up some information for you in just a second here so you can be a part of a caller. So, everybody, today is a unique day. A day in which the Canadians have restricted their Special Powers Act. That is what's going on in the news. At the same time, they're trying to start a war, and everyone is still leading their lives throughout this pandemic, scamdemic, plandemic, whatever you want to call it, because it means nothing at the end. It's all information they simply must not be attached to in these moments of now. So, Robert, let's spin up that Wheel of Callers and see what the universe wants to bring to us tonight.
Okay, welcome everyone. Shaw, you're getting a signal to unmute.
Shaw, are you there? Hello?
I think Shaw just disappeared.
Okay. Universe
Serena Aquarius.
Serena Aquarius, are you there?
Hello?
Hello, where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm calling from Ontario, Canada. Can you hear me properly?
Yes, I can. Ontario, Canada. Have you heard the honks of the horns?
No, I have not personally heard the honks, but I'm well aware.
So, what did you want to talk about today?
Well, sorry, I'm a little taken aback. I was not expecting to be chosen.
That's why we do the Wheel of Callers. It is the universe who decides who is ready.
Yeah, that is super cool. So basically, I had a reading with you back in 2014, and
okay, what did we talk about?
A couple of different things. I was in a very different. Sorry, I'm nervous. I was in a very different place back then, but not too different. And I really wanted to ask some clarifying questions about the answers that you gave me back then.
Okay.
So, where to start? So you had mentioned to me that, okay, long story short, my soul family was force incarnated on Earth, and I don't have anyone in the astral realm acting as ancestral ancestors. So I was wondering, what does that mean for me now?
That means you have to leave the existing soul family that's basically corrupted or unable to do any actions. And this is where you got to start your own soul family and go out, search and explore the multitudes of the verses that are out there for us based off of our perception, perspective, and our goals of the greater soul. That means the group that you have been with, no matter how many millions of years it's been with, its time has come to an end. It can no longer act out of its own free will as an individuals or collective.
So that also it ties into half of my missing soul codes.
Well, some soul codes will come with you to the futures, and others will no longer be actionable soul codes that give positive growth over a span of 1,000 or 1,000,000 years while living in that family, because that family is a specialized soul code within a time frequency on Earth based off of the internal and external growth that it created as the soul family members who were reducing and adding and changing karmic values by living on Earth in different lineages. It's a master equation of the total debt of karma and how individual souls and a handful of lifetimes can reduce a near infinite debt to almost nothingness. And in the same time, create infinite debt again.
Mm-hmm. So
and it's breaking that cycle.
okay. And this basically is challenging for me because, I mean, okay, I'm just trying to ask, like, does that mean that I should be having children this lifetime? Because it's something I debate with.
So a child is not something that only comes from your wound. It is the level of the love that you put into it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your pets can be your children too. Even your goldfish at age 5. It's an instinct inside you. And how that instinct comes out is just like animals that have an instinct, while the versus lift their leg versus sitting down. Okay? It's that ingrained.
Does that
do you need blood offspring in your mind?
I mean, it's not a resounding yes, but I feel like, would I regret it if I didn't?
Would you regret not having any children at all?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Sometimes I feel like I will, and sometimes I feel like I won't.
Okay. So this is really a body fertility issue for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? You feel your internal woman clock ticking. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you know there's going to come a time where the ticks are going to be too challenging for what you have to go through. Mm-hmm. Okay. And do you want to go through, fertility drugs and all the stuff that comes with that? And that stuff isn't cheap and it's not covered by insurance. Versus whatever time you have left to try to have natural production. And do you have somebody in your life that can help balance that process?
I luckily do. And they're not putting pressure on yes or no either.
How old are you?
Sorry, I had to think about it. 33.
Okay. You're fine. You're fine. Okay. Mm-hmm. So ultimately it's 38 too late? Well, that's pushing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you have to decide this year or next year? That would probably be a good idea.
Agreed.
Okay. Now, the big question is, do I need to have children to get out of this family? The answer is no. You can do it in an infinite amount of ways. It's all about what the soul is learning and will not repeat the next lifetimes. It has made a deep enough impact of the long-term perspective of the infinite soul that these other processes cannot be allowed through our lifetimes.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of job do you do?
I'm not working right now.
Why?
I haven't really been happy in my other jobs that I've had, which has been like quite like administrative and receptionist type of work. Mm-hmm. And I am in the process of selling some selenite wands and some crystal wands that I make.
Okay.
It's not a long-term plan. It's just like I'm going to sell 30 of them and then decide what else.
Whatever you can hustle out the door.
Yeah. That's it right now, though.
So you have something keeping you busy, is cash is squashing you, or do you have somebody helping you out?
Someone's helping me. Yeah.
Okay. How stable is it?
I think it's fairly stable. They're pretty hardworking. They don't mind me kind of depending on them for that.
Okay. Are you in a long-term relationship?
Yes.
Okay. Children?
No.
Okay. This is the person you're determining if you want children with?
Yeah, it would be them for sure.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What are some of the other things you've wanted to do in life?
See, that's the interesting part because as long as I can remember, I've never been very forward thinking. Somebody asked me what my long-term goals are. I don't know. And I learned recently that I may have had ADHD since I was a kid, of course. And I'm wondering if that has impacted my lack of future forward thinking. And I don't know what
So
your
ADHD is overprescribed and overlooked at and over medicated. First thing first. ADHD, you still learn how to live in life. Okay. If something is holding you back, it's an internal issue. It isn't from the ADHD. Okay.
Yeah.
The ADHD will just hammer at the subject you can't beat. That's the way it works. Okay. And it just does it over a longer period of time. So you have to face the bigger picture you. What was it like growing up? What did people inspire into you or imprint onto you about what money is? Okay. When did you start losing respect for money? What were the types of jobs that broke your heart on the way the work field is? You got to look at the bigger pictures and the things that influenced you, whether they were physically or subtly.
Yeah. I feel like I not wasted time, but I spent too much time on like higher education.
What education? What education?
Basically just university.
Okay.
But I didn't spend enough time like nurturing artistic talent that I feel like would have brought true happiness.
Okay, but you could pick up artistic talent at any point in time. It's all
That's
effort.
True. I just lack confidence. Exactly. I know.
Well, no, it's not the confidence. You are a serial hesitator and doubter. Okay. Like when you have to make choices, there's like these energetic earthquakes that go around you. And hesitation and doubt are what creating those energetic earthquakes. Then you end up not giving to yourself and not giving to yourself and not giving to yourself. And all this time passes and you're still not giving to yourself. But you make promises that you're going to give more to yourself and do more, but ultimately you don't.
Yeah. Like what stops me? Because That's do
pure depression.
You said pure depression?
Pure depression, yes.
Yeah. And that's what I thought that the ADD was doing, which was like increasing anxiety, increasing depression, making me indecisive and inconsistent. And sometimes, I don't want to say it, but lazy.
No, this is the depression driving all of that. And all of that other stuff are the arguments for the limitations. Every little compartment of you protecting its power it has over you by having an argument for limitation on an immediate draw, which locks you in a cycle of depression, which is the dragon eating its own tail.
Yeah.
How long has this been going on for?
Oh my God, I think forever.
Too long.
Yeah.
So what does it take to light a fire up under your ass?
I know, exactly. I don't know. That's what I need.
You gotta know. You got to figure it out. No one else is going to figure it out for you.
Yeah.
No one else is going to figure it out for you.
Now I feel better when I do a couple days in a row of ceremony, contract revocations.
Sure, but you can't maintain it as a daily process for months at a time.
I've never done that for months at a time. I don't know what's
because you've never been that dedicated and committed to a subject matter to give it that effort.
Yeah.
You've been not only hesitating now, but you're a chicken shit. Gotta call a chicken a shit a chicken shit.
Oh gee. God damn.
Bok, 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 bok. And you can hear me every time you don't choose. I hear me in the background, chicken, 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 chicken.
Yeah, that'll help.
Okay. What's it going to take for you to stop being a chicken shit?
Am I I need to figure out what I'm actually afraid of.
Yeah. Doing anything, spending energy on anything. Because I'm always out of energy. And I'm mocking you on purpose.
Wow, that's true though.
Where is your energy going?
Smoking, doing instant gratification things.
Okay, keep going. Out yourself. You got to be the Edward Snowden of yourself. Yeah. You got to whistleblower here. Come on, say it. Everything that's wrong.
watching YouTube videos too long and not good ones.
Okay. Lady of Leisure. It sounds like you've lived the princesses' lives too many times in other lifetimes. And all these lazy fucking princesses that ever did anything other than birth a kid are affecting you right now.
Wow.
Okay. Where are your servants? You don't got none. Where's your handmaid? Where's your chef? Where's the person that milks your cows? Where are your peasants? Any of those in your life?
Nope.
Well then, what are you going to do to stop being the fluffy princess eating bonbons on her couch, watching The View and Hoda and her drinking?
Hello?
I'm here.
Okay.
I really want you to process this princess energy. I really want you to process this princess energy. The princess has always somebody else to do it for her. And that is a karmic resolution in you, doing for yourself, which includes being a woman with rights in a modern society where princesses never had any rights.
Yeah.
Zero rights, zero respect for them either. Okay?
Is there anything dietarily that affects this?
Probably you are a serial undereater and believe you eat too much. What's your weight at now?
I'm probably like 105 pounds.
Okay, so you're a serial undereater.
I eat 3 meals a day, though.
No, you don't.
2 to 3.
No, you don't. Over a span of a month, you don't. And that's ultimately why it's hidden from you, because you can't see your life in a span of a month. You're a live it now, always now, never looking at the future.
Yeah.
Now. Huh? You burnt out now. Now what? Can't do it the same way. Won't go nowhere. And you're realizing that.
Yeah.
Must unbegrudgingly turn myself around. Activate my own enthusiastic effort.
Okay.
Where's the little positive rebel in me to help store energy? You just take joy out of defeating the no that will never let you grow. One battle at a time. Don't overload yourself. Give back to yourself. Something that's very important for you, because you've been stuck in this energy for a long time, you got to go and get some body work. Somebody that does some serious deep tissue and has got hands of steel and going to make you scream until those knots go away, because you got knots on top of knots on top of knots with energy sits everywhere.
Oh my God.
All this pent up energy that goes nowhere. Yeah.
Okay.
How are you at exercise?
Terrible. 2 days in a row. Yay.
So you're 100. How tall are you?
5'3".
So you're 5'3", 105 pounds, and eat and exercise 2 days a week to stay where you're at. Okay. What's the most muscle weight you've put on?
I couldn't even answer that because I don't know like if I've ever really gained that much muscle.
It's because you never had the guts to eat. That's why. Okay. I want to put a challenge to you, and one that you deeply think about, deeply think about. Your serial lack of food has actually limited your height and your growth. It's something that came with you as a challenge from the other side, from the amount of lifetimes that you starved to death. And that this lifetime you had to heal it without becoming gluttonous. Okay? So my challenge for you is to go and learn the in-depths of weight training and go find somebody that will teach you weight training, and you increase your protein levels to 100 to 150 grams of protein and follow a rigid training schedule, which is like 3 days a week. Mondays are legs, Wednesdays are arms, and then core, and then whatever thing. It's high weight, low reps. Build muscle. But if you do not provide it protein, you will do absolutely nothing. You burn worthless calories.
And this is what is it called? Like meat protein? What is animal protein?
No. It doesn't have to be animal protein. There's a billion Indians that live vegetarian lifetimes. They don't eat any meat. They've learned how to be good vegetarians. See, the thing is, most vegetarians are just bad vegetarians. They shop horribly. They don't think a meal plan, and they don't understand the nature of the proteins that they're bringing in or see it at a higher scale, meaning monthly protein intake. Okay. My challenge for you is to put on 12 pounds of muscles.
Okay.
Okay. Spread over your body through somebody that can go, that anybody that's at a decent gym, and they'll understand exactly what I say. You want to add 12 pounds of muscle in the span of 4 months, and you want to do weight training. So the first thing that's going to happen if you stick with this depression is most of this depression will go away. The reason that you are in forever depression is because every time you have big amounts of food and done whatever exercise, your body goes into rest mode and grows new muscle. But then there's this time where you don't do anything and you have all this extra food in your stomach. So your body goes, all right, I need instant food. You don't have any protein in your stomach or any calories for me to burn. I'm going to go to this muscle that I've just created and eat it now for fuel. And you've been in this forever cycle of build muscle, eat more muscle, never grow any bigger, build some muscle, and so on and so forth until it's restricted your physical and spiritual growth to live on the lowest levels of the gas tank at E. Okay? Imagine if your tanks were full.
Interesting. Yeah.
And you didn't have the limitation of an E being anywhere near you. Okay. So you take this challenge as a spiritual challenge. Okay.
Yeah.
And you take the change of yourself and you see the change in beauty and energy in yourself. So that you can activate the next part of your divine feminine that is raw inspiration through emotions. It's your birthright and legacy. Okay. Then this will help you as determining is 33 the time to have the child or not? What do I got to do to my body to maintain it? Learn it. How are you going to eat for 2? You don't even know how to eat for 1 right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can see that 12 weeks of weight training is teaching yourself how to eat more. Quite literally, because it takes time for the stomach to expand and the gut genome to change. So you start processing your proteins right.
And this should be a mix of protein, vegetable and animal.
It's all going to be about your budget. What budget are you going to put into it? This is really what it's about. And if you want to be strict, you can be strict. If your budget says, all right, I've got to maintain protein and this is what's available at the market for me, then you got to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Try to be cage free, that type of stuff. Try to keep it as pure as possible, but don't blow your budget out and not be able to live because you got to buy this versus that, which is tremendously more expensive. Okay. Learn when to eat carbs and when not to eat carbs. Where do you live at?
Ontario, Canada.
Ontario, Canada. Okay. Yeah. So you've got some cold weather that's going to be going on for quite some time.
Couple more weeks.
Do you have any indoor pools that are available, even open during COVID?
I've not looked into it.
Okay.
But
So
probably.
look for an indoor pool. Also look for a infrared saunas. If not, purchase one for yourself.
I've just actually purchased a sauna blanket.
Okay, it's not the same as sitting in the sauna. Sitting inside the saunas are more relaxing, but you already got the instinct that you needed to help detox yourself. Okay. And then you got to motivate yourself to the exercise and actually sit down with the weight trainer and begin picking up some actual books to learn about protein intake and when to do exercises and when not to. And you got to see it as the spiritual challenge to change yourself because you've been operating at such fundamentally low levels of energy.
Mm-hmm. That's a good place to start. Just the physical health is really first.
Yes. Darlene, I got to let you go and move on to the next caller, but this has been really fun talking to you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
All right, Robert, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
Okie dokie. Tracy Ann, signal to unmute.
Tracy Ann, are you there? Tracy, how you doing? Tracy. Going once.
There was a signal on her microphone, but it's not coming through.
Tracy. Hello?
Maybe we can come back to her.
Yeah, we'll come back. Next.
All right. Graham, signal to unmute.
Graham, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, where are you calling from, Graham?
I'm calling from Seattle.
Welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about today?
Okay, I have a health-related question as well. And I related to a lot of what you were talking about with Serena, with the weight and with the leisurely energy. But I have something else to add, and this is hopefully not too weird of a question for radio, but
okay.
I'm hoping that some other people will benefit by someone being brave enough to bring this up with you. But so let's see, we talked last about 3 years ago, and we had a private session, and I've been doing a lot of just solo healing since then, which I was doing already before that. And I've been mostly working remote because of COVID. And there have been certain things that have been successful with me having the time alone, and then other things where I think I probably should have been reaching out for more support from other people. And just recently in the last few months, I've started restoring more feeling to my heart area, because that was an area that I had just completely numbed out. And so that has been having its own sort of rites of passage of having increased emotional sensitivity and confronting certain programs of like pride and vanity that were preventing me from confronting some of the more challenging feelings of like rejection and stuff that I'm still working through that are in that area. And so what happened is a few weeks ago, I was really kind of in an emotional spiral, and I've had some instant gratification coping strategies where sometimes I've used like my sexuality and sensuality as a way of avoiding those things when they come up. And so I ended up in a particularly, I made a choice that I regret, and I ended up contracting the genital herpes virus. And so that was about, I think it was about 3 weeks ago that it happened, but it took a couple weeks for me to realize what it was and kind of get it diagnosed, because it was sort of a unusual case of it, and it wasn't obvious right away what was going on. And so the last week has been interesting because there were these barriers in my own consciousness that were made up of pride and, like I said, pride and vanity that all of a sudden just shattered. And I fell into this really deep well that intellectually I knew was there, but it was this well of like shame and humiliation and all of those things. And it kind of forced me to confront some of those feelings. And so I've been going back and forth the last week, kind of looking like, okay, objectively, I know why this happened. I know the way that it's benefiting me. It's going to force me to reveal shameful, or, not shameful, but vulnerable things about myself to future partners. I think it would actually force me to actually start having a love life rather than having this kind of instant gratification relationship with my sexuality that I have had. But at the same time, I don't want to necessarily tell myself the story that I need this virus in order to progress in my life. And so
great. Just, you don't want to tell yourself a story you believe in.
Yeah.
You got to keep it spiritual law factual.
Right.
Test is positive, story does not change, why does not matter.
Yeah.
Okay. But the lessons in why I didn't take the care that I should have for myself. Mm-hmm. And deep down inside, I knew if I go too far, something's going to happen, and something did happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you said you were diagnosed 3 weeks ago with genital herpes?
Uh-huh. Or no, the diagnosis was a week ago. I think I contracted it 3 weeks ago.
Okay, that's pretty quick. Usually it takes months to show up. Not always.
I don't know for sure. It's the way that the timing happened. It happened after, a instant where I definitely could have contracted it. But yeah, I don't have a way of proving it, I guess.
Well, you're eventually going to get sores or you're not.
Yeah, I have them now. So that's when I finally got it.
Okay, so you got a full test and it's a positive. All right.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing you do is have to go through a ritual and cleansing of your physical body as well as your penis. And your penis has to start producing light that's inspirational for you. Okay,
yeah.
Now, we talk about, rituals for women. This is something for a man, whether you're straight or homosexual, doesn't matter. It's just the whole doesn't matter. Okay. Ultimately it doesn't. Okay. Yeah. It's still the mechanical spiritual process of the activation of the third eye going back into the tip of the penis while inside a person, so you can have a longer term propagation and have the two spirit worlds meet and create the potential of a fetus in the womb, even if it does not activate, because that is what each egg's purpose is. And restoring that truth back to you, instead of it being this red badge of celibacy for life, because it isn't. Deep down inside, you recognize you have to be able to love again, and you will have to have this conversation with people. But there are plenty of medicines out there that keep that stuff under control until the point you have no more breakouts.
Yeah.
Okay? So have faith in allopathic medicine for that. Okay?
Okay, so it is a good idea to just go on the antivirals and go that route.
But you've got to heal too. You've got to recognize how to bring light back into your divine masculine parts as a ritual of shedding off the shame, blame, and guilt.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not going to become a masturbation tool. It's going to become a tool of light in its flaccid state.
Yeah.
So that it can glow between your legs when you're off doing whatever, at work or in a taxi, and it can begin to alter your life force and change your pheromones naturally instead of being driven by the other way that it was doing it, which was instant gratification.
Yeah.
So you've got to actively control the production of your pheromones.
Okay, and so having a direct a ritual where I'm directly owning that part of my body and the way that I'm generating light through it.
No, and actually go through an extended process of learning how to generate tremendous amounts of light in it, because it has a tarnish on it. And that tarnish got to come off with the power washer over and over and over again, in layer after layer after layer.
And that could just be through any form of ritual or meditation that you usually talk about, and then I could adapt it for that.
Yes, but you'll have to be more specific that keeping a flaccid energy and touching that area with an exploration and a sensation of I'm adding energy, and that part of your consciousness is ready to accept it through that area.
Okay.
So you got to actively send your third eye and your mental perceptions into the phallic area during a flaccid state as well as a hard state too. And you got to learn the difference between the two.
Okay.
Okay, start with the flaccid state. Don't worry about the extended states for a couple weeks. Learn how the different flaccid energies and how you can add them so it begins altering your frequency and raising your energy. Because right now you're going through a cyclical lowering of energy.
Okay.
And it's because you can't replenish yourself with your instant gratification to keep the numbers net zero. And right now you're net negative, and you got to find a way to add back energy to your overall system.
Okay.
And food is the way to do it. Added by exercise. Exercise is a natural euphoric process. You just got to figure out what exercise are going to trigger your euphoria.
Yeah.
What kind of workouts do you like to do?
Usually walking. I am a naturally fast walker, and when I moved to the city, I don't have a car, so I walk and I use public transportation. And especially when I was in college, I realized like, oh, I do get that natural sort of runner's high when I walk, which I had never experienced before when I was growing up. So I've taken a liking to that. But if there's something you would recommend adding, I can experiment too.
Do you got good city streets?
Yeah. It's there's some walkable, areas where I am and residential areas.
How are you at rollerblading?
I have some rollerblades. Yeah, I can get those out again.
So this is the type of, how do I say, spiritual gyroscopy exercises. So first of all, you're going to be on blades, which is your mind's going to have to think differently. You have to be a lot more present when you're on blades. Mm-hmm. And then you need to learn a certain form of body control to be able to do it for long periods of time, or you just burn yourself out. Okay. Yeah. Now, like with the other caller, if you sit down with a weight trainer, an actual person that's at a gym and is an actual certified weight trainer, and you say, I want to put on muscle and I know I need to eat food, I need you to help me coaching on food preparedness. Yeah. You will change so much about yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. And this isn't about becoming Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's what so many people go into weight training, is learning how to eat and maintain a positive mental and spiritual balance.
Okay. Yeah.
Because after weight training, you should go and do something like wall climbing. Go find an indoor climbing station. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you get money under your belt, start going out other places where maybe you do get yourself a vehicle or find somebody that can go with you and go on extended hikes on the trails.
Yeah. There's a lot of climbing and hiking stuff here.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Do you ever been in rode a motorcycle?
No, I actually don't have a license. It's one of those weird things that I just don't have.
Why?
Oh, good. I was wondering if you were going to ask me that.
That's as bad as being a virgin.
I don't consider. Okay, this was a long time ago, so I've probably changed since then. But I don't consider myself an anxious person. But there was something about learning to drive and the experience that I had in driver's ed that triggered something that I would go into freeze states trying to drive a car, and the highway drives made me really nervous. And
you have to beat that. That is such a limiting force on you right now.
Okay.
You have to actively try to beat that.
Okay.
Just as a spiritual victory over yourself.
I've had friends who have offered to teach me, which
it's not something you can teach. You have to be able to overcome.
Okay.
You have to be able to overcome.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, because nobody can teach anybody in a fearful state.
Okay.
You understand that?
So
you already have to be. You have to address it. Yes, because this says something more about the greater life.
Yeah.
Because you're always in control of other people driving now.
Yeah.
And I want you to know that is karma. That is to somebody who won't give up a horse.
Interesting.
That's a guy in the 1900s. Those cars will never survive.
Interesting.
All right, Graham, thanks a lot for calling in. I got to move on to the next caller.
Thanks, Andrew.
You're welcome, brother. Take it easy.
Yeah, you too.
All right, Robert, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
Okay, trying Tracy Ann one more time. Tracy, you there?
Hi.
Tracy, hi, Tracy. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Phoenix, Arizona.
How you doing today?
Hey, I'm good, and I'm delighted to be called. Hey, Andrew. So I worked with you a number of years ago, and I'm going to try to condense this. When we had worked together, I believe that you found that I was locked in Middle Earth, and we did a number of revocations. I'm calling because what I would call, and I'm sorry, it's sort of a heavy topic, but like the great evil that I felt pressing on me in my life, which is coming through my father, is getting worse and worse. And in every night that I dream more and more, if you will, realities and dimensions of where this creature is coming from. And very specifically, I just want to mention this because this is the visuals that I get, is that when I was a very young girl, he took me to see the movie 2001 Space Odyssey. And I remember watching it and feeling that I had lived everything in that movie already and that I was doomed to live it again, including the final sort of horrible scenes where the guy gets cut off from the spaceship, is floating in outer space, and where he lands in a room all by himself as a baby. And that room and that isolation has haunted me for years. So anyway, I'll leave it there, but it's just getting bigger and bigger. And I feel whether I'm in a body or not, I don't know how to get rid of this force on me.
Okay. So do you remember the revocations I had you reading out?
I do. Yeah. I mean, I remember reading them. I don't remember verbatim, but yes, I do remember them.
What kind of emotional responses did you have to them?
Incredible alignment. There were definitely words in there that were encoded that brought me back to what I would call home ground. And then after the revocations, like stuff would get worse in life. The darkness would increase. And I ended up stopping them because I felt like I couldn't protect, like it's always multiple levels ahead of me and beyond my power. And that's the problem, is I can't get out of it.
That's your lack of faith in yourself. When something puts you in this ultimatum state, if you don't stop it, it's going to get worse. It means it's already losing energy against the journeys that you're creating it. And part of having entities that are constantly projecting at you is they don't give up. And you got to have a longer process and have to get more enjoyment and faith and confidence out of it. And there comes a time that doing them on a regular basis also means you have to add to them. Your specific situations have to replace some of the general subject matters so they can specifically deal with the subject matters that are affecting you. How it drains energy from you, how it hijacks your dream worlds, stopping it from hijacking the dream world, and then enforcing the ritual and ceremony with a more empowered state, learning to take help from the elements that are there, such as doing fire ceremonies or working with the moving waters and the winds, etc., that get your energies flowing at a much higher state.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Moving with the elements.
Well, it's not just moving with the elements. It's a form of at-one-ment with them. Okay? We've got a real example. Like when you learn to be a fire tender, meaning all the different moods and styles that the fire that's out there and how to tend it for its maximum heat and use, it speaks to you. It has great volumes of words to speak to you as an inner wisdom. You've got to get to that state with the element.
Okay. That's okay. Can I ask another question? Because it relates to the fire. So for about 10 years, I've liked someone very much. He's a fireman. And when we did our session, I think you'd seen that there was a lot of, I don't know if it was archonic structure or darkness that was really inhibiting our connection. And so what's happened is over these years, he's faded away. But what I have found is that as he fades away, I usually have fire trucks around me a lot. And then most times when I travel, a fire will spring up. Like one came about in Alaska a few summers ago in a rainforest where they'd never had a fire. It's like every time I go somewhere, a fire emerges in just the weirdest places. And
you
and
need
that
to
is
take
frightening me.
you need to take that as a sign from the universe that you need to learn to take control of that energy. It's like a person that doesn't know how to swim and doesn't learn to swim their entire life and never has the experience of what the ocean does for you. Or the other person that was afraid of driving. You got to take it as a sign that that has something to teach you.
Is it coming from the firemen or why? Like, what is with the firemen?
It's coming from the fire itself. It's the fire itself.
Oh, wow.
That's the element. That is an element speaking to you.
Wow. I'm really scared of fire. That's interesting. Okay.
What are you afraid of it for?
Like, because I remember being burnt all the time. And I don't know why I remember that. I just do.
Okay. Well, if you are in control of the fire all the time and you're not a moron, you're not going to burn yourself.
Okay.
Okay. I don't think you're a moron. I think you can handle a couple logs on a fire, right?
I think so.
This with a stick. Okay. Do you trust yourself? Okay. That's where you start. That's where you start. And then you get a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. And then you get yourself the right fire tools, one of those scissor things instead of trying to move everything with a single stick. Okay.
Okay. And is a third question, is there any hope for me to ever like kind of date again? I mean, it's been just like completely...
Let's be brutal honest. Brutal honest. You got to deal with this entity first. Okay. And you got to stick with it and not give up and learn how to increase your energies over a span of months and not go up, down, where you're constantly losing the tug of war.
Okay.
Okay. This requires a serious form of dedication, more than you've done before.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you working now?
Yeah, I do work. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you do?
I work in finance and audit for a healthcare system.
Okay. Do you think that helps fuel the entity?
It totally does, because I'm deflecting a lot of negativity all the time.
Okay. So what can you do to stop to deflect the negativity?
I probably shouldn't work in the field.
Until such a time that you find another job, you've got to figure out something in the interim to start closing some of the loopholes. This is where daily prayer and daily practice are vital, because it reminds you of the loopholes to close. That's why I made those contract revocations for like the divine masculine and feminine so specific and yet broad at the same time. So you can actively close down these loopholes until they have a very few to figure out how to get into you.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you have a way? Do you have a place to do an outdoor fire?
I absolutely do. Yeah, I've got a backyard, and it's the desert, so not a lot is burning here.
Okay, get yourself a cord of wood delivered. Okay. Serious. That'll be the best money you ever spend on yourself, and that cord of wood is going to become your giant mound of storing prayers.
Oh wow.
Okay, and that'll become a massive battery, because if you're starting to you give it 20 minutes every day. Okay, that's 600 minutes at the end of the month. Okay, and 2 months, 1,200 minutes of prayers into that. That means every time you're burning those logs, you're compounding your will if you're ready to use it.
Is there anything I need to look at with the will itself, or is that something that
internal feel like the other people? Food. Without food, you don't do nothing in your spiritual journey. So what's your relationship with food?
It's not great. I mean, it's uneven. Like I have tons of vegetables every day, and then I supplement that with usually some sugar.
Okay, but what's your protein?
I don't have one, because I don't like meat and I don't like eggs. And so I've been eating beans, like beans basically. Right now.
Do you know that eating all those beans are going to make you even more depressive?
I did not know. Okay.
Yeah. Huh. So you are an example of a bad vegetarian.
Okay.
Stop being a bad vegetarian. Okay.
Wow.
You really have to take this food seriously. And if you want to start some basic food magic, pray over the stuff. Okay. Bring that positive witchy energy out for every meal. Challenge yourself. What is it going to take for me to put on a smile and turn off this fake smile? Because you are a queen of the fake smile.
Okay.
Okay? That's not a good thing.
Mhm.
That means you can't tell your authentic smile apart anymore.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay? Now, with all of this said, what lies ahead of you? First of all, learning how to ask for help. Okay? So the first type of help you need to ask for is somebody to come and do some kind of body work on you.
Okay.
Okay? You need somebody to come in there and break up the knots all over your body. It's
Right.
not acupressure and acupuncture is not going to do what you need. You need to break up the knots first. And
Okay.
what's your relationship to exercising?
I used to exercise constantly, and then I hurt my back a few months ago. But I used to exercise a lot in the
Like
gym and hiking.
like cardio, mostly
Well, no, a
cardio.
lot of weights. Like I like more weight
Okay.
training, and I did some cardio and a lot of yoga and some little amount of swimming and then hiking.
Okay. And what did you do during the winters? Same thing?
Yeah, same thing because of the weather here. It's
Yeah,
pretty
because of the weather.
crazy.
So the
Yeah.
weather there. Okay. So there is a perspective that you can take. Instead of going back in having any form of cardio, you're going to do all weight training
Okay.
and you're going to train for a biathlon. Okay.
Okay.
So swimming and hiking, your particular choice. You could even do biking, but then you're going to have to balance more carbs so you can bike longer distance or store
Okay.
more protein, store more proteins.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, because long-term bike riding is all about understanding the food that you've eaten the 2 days before, the food that you eat during the day, and the food afterwards.
Oh,
Otherwise,
wow.
you'll never be able to learn to bike long distances.
Okay.
Okay, so you talk to somebody that's a biathlon trainer, whether it's like I said, hiking, swimming, riding, whatever it's going to be. Okay, and that is your spiritual challenge to get your hustle energy and yourself going. You already have a relationship to exercise, and now you want to change the body's shape and tone and reserve energies. Because right now the entity is stealing all of your reserve energies, which makes it difficult to do inner spiritual work, such as clearing out the daily frequencies or the deep frequencies that are locked inside yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. I'm often fatigued. Yeah. Like abnormally fatigued.
Right. And it's from lack of food and overexercise.
Okay.
Okay. Similar to the other two callers.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now there's more here. You got to take a serious part of the daily practice. Okay. The daily practice is variety. You got to start learning how those revocations, when they made you emotional and what they did positive for you. So you got to figure out how to include them in some of your workouts. Okay.
Okay.
So you got to make some modern recordings of them. Okay. And listen to them while you're in the workout stage.
Okay.
And am I accurately transmitting the essence of the words to me?
Yeah.
Feel the person in the recording and understand that you're compounding your healing. And that's a good thing. And then when it comes time for the fires, this is where the magician in you has to come out. The stage show, the artiste, the one who's never had her stage.
Yeah.
Okay. And who's the witness? The fire and the spirits and the fairies of the lands. They're sitting there with the popcorn, waiting for you to entertain them. Okay.
Yeah.
And every journey can be a different journey. They're waiting to be educated by you expressing your free will at the sacred fire. Learning the flows of forms of prayers that can help free you in the moment to see bigger perspective and to think big for your life.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that.
Okay. Got to light your own fire here.
Yeah.
Got to essentially make a big enough fire in your auric frequency to start attracting back the shards that have been taken away from you.
Oh, geez. Right.
Okay. I want to touch on, when's the last time you had anybody do body work on you?
I had some actually a few days ago, but they're often people like sounds weird, but they like steal my energy, and they're always trying to like merge into my body. They're like, oh, this feels so good. And it happened again.
That's all bullshit. That's you stopping it. That's you stopping it.
Oh, it is me stopping it.
Yes, that's all you.
Even though they're saying the words?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if they're saying the words. You're still not allowing it through, which can change your frequency.
Oh, okay.
It's not like they're hitting on you, are they?
Sometimes they do.
Okay. A lot of times it isn't. It's you just misinterpreting it.
Okay.
Which makes it very difficult for you to give yourself body work. Okay. If you got to find the old woman to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't worry about her judgment of your body. Who cares? You need someone to come in there and release the knots.
Okay.
Break up the energy, the stuck energy. And you're going to have some really tight knots because you've been an exercise person, and that just gets them harder and harder. So it's going to be like scar tissue in some places.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Do you ever use cannabis?
No, I don't. Well, I don't because I don't want to like lose my job or something.
But in the past, you never did either?
I mean, I've tried it a couple times. And I had a pretty bad trip on it a few years ago with a very small amount.
Yeah. It won't be a good thing for you until you break some of this depression.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, darling.
Thanks.
That would be a good idea for you to go back and listen to this a bunch of different times, and I'm talking to you in layers.
Yeah.
All right, darling. Thanks a lot for calling in. You're welcome.
Yeah, okay.
All right, Robert, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
Alrighty, thank you, Tracy Ann. Cameron Bentley, signal to unmute.
Cameron Bentley, are you there?
Hello.
Hey, where are you calling from? Good, where are you calling from?
From New Zealand.
Welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about today?
Thank you. Well, so much of those 3 last calls were so relevant to me. I have chronic fatigue. I've got terrible lung inflammation. Shut up. The neighbor's dog, sorry. Yeah, I'm really suffering physically. I'm probably got the worst of all those last 3 callers sort of problems going on with me.
So what is your relationship to food like?
I've been struggling with candida, I believe, and getting irritable bowels, digesting protein, feeling an appetite.
Have you been diagnosed with any diseases?
Only by myself, really. Just basically ME, chronic fatigue.
But it's not been diagnosed. You don't actually have a doctor's.
No.
You don't. Okay. You don't actually. Do you not go to the doctor? Do you not go to the doctor?
I don't have a great relationship with my doctor, and I don't feel like. Well, chronic fatigue is a very hard thing because it's not really a.
Do you visit Do you visit a naturopath?
No.
All right, so you got to figure yourself out here, man. You can no longer self-diagnose, and you're putting yourself down the path of self-destruction here. You at least got to go visit a naturopath. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, or even an osteopath too. I mean, you need someone that's going to guide you on the right medical decisions, because you got a lot going on with your energy frequencies right now, and then to me, it's a very chaotic energy. Do you get regular cold chills?
Yes, I do. Yeah, when I'm feeling like low immunity. Yeah.
Okay, so what that is your endocrine system is in complete freak out mode. That means you are not getting proper electrical signals spread throughout your body.
Yes.
Do you have inflammation in your feet?
Not inflammation, but like cold. They get cold very easily. Yeah.
Do they ever swell up?
Yeah. I suppose they do, but yes.
How much do they swell up?
Not excessively, just a bit puffy, a bit heavy feeling.
Okay, so like if you put socks on, it feels tight.
No, I wouldn't say that. No,
Okay. Does it bulge over the sock at all?
no.
Okay. Are you wearing high socks or low socks?
I have like semi-high sort of woolen socks, not super
Okay.
tight.
That's fine. So it tells a lot of where your actual circulation. So your lower body circulation is okay, except you've lost electrical control down there. Okay.
Yes, right.
That means your whole body is in complete and total freak out mode. So the first thing to do is you got to get your body in natural mode. So you need to go, if you're not going to visit a doctor, you need to see a naturopath.
Okay.
Okay. Now a lot of naturopaths do read the live blood cells and the live and the dead blood cells. They do a special reading process where they look at the live blood cells and then the blood cells that passed on, and they look for specific patterns in them. I would advise you to have that done. And even though you don't like visiting regular doctors, you got to go once a year and get yourself looked at. Okay. Isn't medicine in New Zealand free?
Not exactly. No, I have to pay, a doctor's visit, like $40 or something.
Okay, so it's not like here in the States, one doctor's visit will cost you $40,000.
Right.
Okay, so you can spend the once a year to go and get checked up on.
Yes.
Okay, that's all you have to do. Now you need to find a naturopath and you just stick with it, and you need to go on their vitamins and supplements that they're going to recommend for you, because your body is not. Oh, you're right. You do have candida and all sorts of other blood parasites going on inside you right now.
Yeah.
And until you can get rid of them, you are going to be stuck in a situation that's very difficult to heal from.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been looking into like keto and carnivore diets. What do you think about that?
Can you afford those types of diets?
I don't necessarily think they're more expensive than a regular diet.
A carnivore diet is significantly more expensive than another diet. Okay. And same with keto. If you don't know how to purchase correctly, and you're not willing to be strict on what you buy too. And you might not have keto of all the keto products that you need. Just because something says keto friendly doesn't mean it ultimately is in any form of volume.
Yeah, I understand
keto is being roughly between 26 and 30 grams of carbs in a day, and learning how to chart your carbs so that the body is constantly creating muscle, not eating muscle. And that's understanding that's a state of being and a state of living. So keto can be a more challenging diet than the carnivore diet. But the carnivore diet is more expensive. Yes, you need to start purchasing meats in large volumes.
Yes.
Okay. Until such a time you can learn to not eat large volumes, but eat smarter. That's the whole point of the carnivore diet. It's not to eat pounds of meat in a day. It's to be smart about when you're eating and then when you're going to be doing any form of exercise, so that you can use that protein for its purpose, creating of body structure and mass and the reduction of fat.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do a carnivore diet, do a strict diet. Figure out what you can do. Buy meat. You're going to have to freeze a whole bunch of stuff, and they're going to have to learn to cook it in such a way that you want to eat it every day.
Yes.
Okay. Become a barbecue master. Okay. Will a carnivore diet change you? Yes, it will if you stay strict enough. Yes, it will. It will not be the end all clear all, though. You need to visit the naturopath. Okay.
Okay.
And then you got to learn, what does it take to motivate you beyond eating food and cooking your own food? What's it going to take for you to start to be physical again and to learn through the process of the pains and process of building muscle and experiencing growing pains again? What kind of job do you have?
I'm nowhere near able to work at the moment.
Right. So, how long have you not been working for?
Many years, like probably at least 8 years or something.
Okay. So you don't know what it takes to expend an amount of energy in a full day's of work anymore.
No way. I don't know what it feels like to be able to exercise anymore.
Okay. Well, you've got to get some of that energy back. You got to go pick up an exercise bicycle. So all you're sitting and doing is moving your legs. Okay.
Yeah,
I
do a bit of biking. Yeah.
Well, it's not a bit of biking. You got to learn to do 8 to 12 kilometers a day.
That's not really I mean, with the ME, that just makes you worse. That I really can't, and it fucks me up if I do.
You
try and
listen.
push
You are
myself.
not. You listen. You are not diagnosed with anything, and you won't know if you're diagnosed with anything until you go and get diagnosed with anything. Do you understand that? So whatever stories you've created are all misinterpretations of all the symptoms that you're going through. If you
Okay.
truly cannot exercise anymore, it's because you gave up on yourself. No matter what, your muscles have atrophied and you have to work through the atrophy. Okay? And if you have a sickness that's debilitating you that much, why haven't you gone to the doctor and got it confirmed? Because you're a chicken shit. Okay? I'm being harsh with you for a reason.
Yeah.
Because you gave up. And the only way to get fixed is to ungive up on yourself and start seizing control of who you are, and what you can do within your life. Have you lost that much capacity you can't even walk?
At times, yes.
Okay. Are you using a walker?
No.
Okay. You're not that bad then. All this is getting through the atrophy and is getting yourself the right amount of fuel and breaking out some of these cycles that you've got going on.
And what about my lungs, which make it very hard for me to talk and do out loud prayer and stuff?
Then you need to go see the doctor if you've got shortness of breath, man.
But basically, no shortness of breath. Just talking. The vibration of talking really hurts.
Then you need to go and see the doctor.
And they recommend steroids. Do you recommend that? Would
So
be
you
the
have
option?
you have been to see the doctor then?
Yes, I've had
Yes, you got to take those steroids. You have lost lung capacity. Yes, you need to take those.
Okay.
Stop self-diagnosing. You're going to kill yourself if you do.
Okay.
Okay? Listen to what the doctors say. Go see a naturopath. Get on the right medical path for yourself. And I cannot instruct you enough. Stop self-diagnosing.
Yes.
I'm going to be blunt with you. It's a form of suicide for you.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
You have to understand the diagnosis to be able to beat them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
If you need steroids to over normal breath, and they're telling you that, it's because you're not getting the right blood oxygen levels.
I am. My breathing seems fine. That's the funny thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you're still having a restriction in breath, which is something at the hemoglobin level.
Okay.
And you're only going to know that through blood tests. As well as the naturopath can figure this stuff out too.
Okay.
But you haven't even gone down that path. That's why I'm being harsh with you. You got to choose a medical path for yourself. Okay?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, brother. I got to let you go and move on to the next caller. Thanks a lot for calling in.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
You're welcome, brother. Take it easy.
Cheers.
All right, Robert. Let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
Okie Rolling Earth, set to a signal to unmute.
Rolling Earth, are you there?
Rolling Earth is here.
How you doing? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from North Georgia.
North Georgia. Welcome to the show. What did you want to talk about today?
Well, I had an interesting few months and wanted to ask you some questions about what went on.
Okay, let me know. Tell me about what went on.
Okay, well, the fun part is I decided to go to Peru for a medicine journey.
Okay.
And arrived there, got COVID at the facility.
Okay.
So I had an extra 5 days of not remembering what the hell was going on. and actually did the ceremony with the COVID and the ceremony simultaneously, which was a really beautiful ceremony. I mean, it was the best of anything I could ever think of. And then I came back to the States because I was still having problems with the COVID, and went to the hospital and spent 7 days in the hospital with the COVID, not on a respirator, but they gave me the antibiotics and all that kind of stuff to get over that. And it seems like to me that the medicine journey and I guess the COVID was a reconciliation of death medicine journey.
So, yeah, you had a double medicine journey, both sides of the term medicine. Okay. You got COVID and did a ritual and ceremony over there. You were fine. You had an amazing ceremony. And then you got home, and then you had to go into the hospital, which is the other side, the modern medicine, because you needed a modern medicine and a medicine healing at the same time to expand you or to sever the negative astral cords that were holding you back about both sides of the term medicine before. So you would have the freedom to grow into new heights.
That's what it really feels like. There's definitely a severing of cords there. And although nothing really, was transpired in the time since I've come back.
This was all astral. Like example, like what was going on in you in the hospital was was more astral than the physical ceremony that you experienced through the medicine. It's because the medicine on the medicine side had to transfer to the medicine side's dream world, because medicine has many different dream worlds. Every hospital has a different dream world to it. And the dream world of that hospital, you were healing that hospital's dream world by what you were going through, because you brought traditional medicine to the lands of medicine. So what you did was a massive karmic journey.
Now that's probably why I feel a little tired then.
Yes. Now you have the infamous. Now what?
Yeah.
You had your proof. What more proof do you need? It's real, right? Okay. Now what? What do you want to do with it?
I guess I'm sitting around here thinking about all the things I can't do because of my poor choices previous, and trying to manipulate those to make changes so that
what poor choices are affecting you right now?
I decided to retire and go on Social Security.
Okay, how is that
financially limiting?
Yes, and you have no savings?
Not very much, but there is some there. And I've been looking at buying a piece of land and self-building a house on it, and selling a whole bunch of stuff that I don't really need anymore out of my storage unit to finance the physical building of the structure.
Okay.
Which is the most plausible thing that I've come up with in terms
versus starting your own business.
I'd thought about that, but came up with more negatives than I did positives.
Because you didn't know the different positives that could be out there.
I think it's more to do with dealing with people, and I tend to shortcut the conversation. Like if someone's bartering with you or something, I tend to terminate the discussion as opposed to continue, bartering and dickering about a few cents or something on a bill. That's just, I don't argue with people. They ask me
what kind of work experience do you have?
Well, I was a mechanic.
Okay.
And that trade there has gone into money lending and kind of competing with the big corporate places now.
Mhm.
I have made an effort to look just to see how
So
far
car,
this is
like what kind of mechanic? All around mechanic, car mechanic, diesel truck mechanic?
Probably more car. I mean, I've worked at dealerships. I worked for Mercedes in their production plant doing what they call end of line repair,
Okay.
and which was a pretty good job. They only just started to hire people back again
Okay.
there. Alabama's not the nicest of place to stay, but it was good money.
Okay. But now you're retired.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you're really
I've still
only
got
you're really hold on. Right now, the only thing that you have going for is your mechanic skill. Is what you're saying.
Yeah, and I can unretire. All I have to do is pay them back the money that they've already paid back. Which
And how much would that?
$6,000 or something like that. It's money that I actually physically have,
Okay.
so I could take that option. It's only because they tax. I mean, if you made money,
Yeah. I know. I get it. I get it. I don't know how it works. But you could start your own business where all that would still be tax free.
Yeah.
You write all that stuff off. Okay. Have you ever thought about just doing some really smaller stuff, like right now converting Econoline vans into camper vans is a gigantic thing. You can buy it for 4 or 5 or 7,000 and turn around and sell it for 20 complete. Put 4 or 5 grand into it. Have you seen people doing that?
Yeah, the van lifers,
Yeah.
are kind of a group that I got to know and understand last year while I was doing my walkabout.
So you can do that as extra side money, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you're allowed to sell, I think, 15 cars in a year. Or you're not going to do that many, but if you say you do 2 in a year, that's an extra 15 grand for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you can convert anything into a camper van. Fucking, you can even convert a car to it. It's all about is it a good motor? Does it got all-wheel drive or not?
Yeah, that I'm kind of ingenious. I could come up with some stuff to really make stuff work.
Right. So then literally it's just go to a car dealership and see what the hell's out there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Pick something easy and cheap to start with and put your brain to use to it.
Well, I guess the problem one is I got to have a place to do it.
No, you don't. That's all. You don't need to ever put the vehicle up on a lift. You can do that all inside a garage, a small garage, or all that's interior work.
Yeah, but I don't have a place. I'm technically homeless at the moment.
How does technically work?
Well, you sleep in your own car.
Okay.
So I'm van lifing it, if you want to call it that way.
Okay, you're van lifing it. So what can you do to find a place?
Well, that's where buy a piece of property and start to build a house on it.
Yeah, but that's all your money is going to go into buying the property and building, and you'll never be able to do the stuff on the side.
Yeah.
You need a much more stable environment and start putting money away or earning some money in a specific way so you could buy the property and put the investment into it.
And then renting places is horrible. I mean, I've looked around and
yes, but you can go and find one of those you store it, you rent it places that allows you to do work inside your unit and get a 10 by 10 with a lift door and do all the work inside the 10 by 10. Right?
Mm-hmm.
People do that all the time. That's their only rent you got to spend.
That's doable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since you already got the van life experience, you got to see your first one is going to be a turnaround product. Okay. Advertise it on the forums that you're on. Hey guys, here I'm doing a vehicle. This is the work orders. This is the way I did it. This is how it started. Take pictures of it all the way through. Okay. You don't have to put everything under the sun under it. What do people want? Extra batteries. You're not going to worry about solar power because it's too expensive. An internal heating system. You got to choose diesel or propane. Okay. You can do the same thing with a trailer, a 10 by 10 or a 10 by 12 trailer. And those things are dirt cheap.
Yeah, I thought about that and doing it for kind of like the guys that want to put their motorcycles in it too.
Exactly.
We
It's
have
all custom.
fold-up beds.
It's all custom work for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that way it's kind of a dual use, a toy mobile as well as a
functional, exactly, a functional place. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. You got something already built in for you to do.
Yeah, I guess my negative view of the economy.
Listen, everybody's buying anything that's a camper vehicle. Is like this year they sold 600,000 more units than their highest year ever in history. Process that. I ordered an RV in February last year, and when I didn't get it by August, I canceled my order. And I know people who are still on the waiting list for their order.
Yeah, I guess that would push people to the point where they would consider buying something that was viably good in the used department.
Mm-hmm. And if it's not rusted, it looks good. It's got a decent motor. It checks out on the car checks, etc., and it looks good inside. You'll sell it. You will sell it right away.
Well, that's one way of turning listening to the other listeners there, turning chicken shit into rocket fuel.
Exactly. Chicken shit into rocket fuel.
You just get the combination right. And
you see, the thing is, you already know you could do it. You have all the built-in skills to do it. There isn't anything in the list of jobs in converting the inside of a van to a camper van you can't do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay? So do it.
All right. Well, I'm going to go out and see what I can find in terms of units to work in.
Exactly. The right unit to work in and the right vehicle to start with. Okay? You want to find something that's mechanically sound. Well, the only thing you may have to do is replace the mirrors and, reinforce the tow bar if you want it to tow.
Mm-hmm.
And, good tires.
Yeah, just get it up to maintenance specs and where it's a literally turnkey.
Exactly. Here you go, man. The refrigerator works. The bed folds out like this. It's it's all your custom work.
Yep.
Okay. There's your minimal project, and then there's your maximum. Just go just above minimal. Mm-hmm. It's got dual batteries. If you want to put the solid spot on the top so you can do rooftop camping, or it's got something you've already bought and rigged up so it attaches to the side or the back of the camper, those camper tents.
Mm-hmm.
Because they sell all sorts of kits that fit any vehicle, which you probably already know.
Yeah, I guess the big thing there is there's also kind of a niche in the vehicles themselves.
That's why choosing your first vehicle and doing the minimal amount. If I buy it for $3 and sell it for $9, is it worth it for me? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess you don't have to start off with the Mercedes Sprinter to start off with.
No, you don't. You start off with an Econoline 350, or even a 250, or something that was an airport van that it's all seats inside. Just take out all the seats.
Yeah, I mean,
start from there.
Of the nice ones are probably along the lines of the soccer mums, like the Toyota Sienna.
There you go. Yeah,
because they appeal to the female users a little bit more.
And then there are certain SUVs that can do the same thing.
Mhm.
Okay. It's all about what you want to work with first and the easiness of the tear out and then the install. Your
Yeah.
easiest in the beginning is an Econoline or a Chevy Chevy van. Something that's, like 2004 to 2013, which you can get easy. And then there are some that are 2019s that are $7,000 and $8,000 and they're decent miles. Okay. Like all the old handicap vans that are for sale now are ridiculous.
Yeah, we got a couple of companies around here that do a lot of those mobility vans.
And a lot of those are for sale right now for dirt cheap.
And yeah, they'll definitely make a good camper. One of those, because you've got
hell yeah.
the drop floor feature in the back.
That's right.
For the
And you
wheelchair
can
to go up.
and you can stand up inside it. You got the extended ceiling.
Yeah. Cool. That's a great idea to pioneer into something like that, rather than
We've inspired you, and that's the most important thing. We've inspired you. All right, brother. Thanks a lot for calling in.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Robert. Let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
All right. Thank you. Marie 452, signal to
Marie 452. Are you there?
I am. How are you?
Hi. Good. Where are you calling
Hi.
from?
I'm calling from San Diego, California.
San Diego, California. Welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about today?
Thank you. Well, I am in a transition period of my life, and I've got a lot going on.
Okay.
And so I just kind of am open to whatever input you might have for me.
Okay. Well, tell me a little bit about yourself so I can tune in.
Okay. So let's see. I have a passion in doing homeopathy,
Okay.
but I don't quite know how to make money doing it.
Do you have?
And-
Did you do the class already?
I didn't do the class, but I've had it my whole life, and I have some interesting ways of doing it that work.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's one option I could do. I was thinking about doing like a form of astrology where I do it for couples and do like a little report, do the research, and then make a report and send that to people. So those are some options.
Do you actually do that for people?
I don't do that. I just I've been doing it for myself kind of.
Okay.
And I was just doing it today, and I thought, oh, maybe I could turn that into an income.
So you got to get good at it before you could turn it into an income. First of all, you got to get really good at it. You're really, really good at it. Now, do you have a job?
I just pay the bills with I do a work trade. It's farm work.
Okay. What kind of farm work?
Mulching, weeding, wheelbarrow, that kind of thing.
So you don't actually earn any money?
No, it's just a trade.
Why are you in this type of situation?
Why? I wanted to come here to complete my relationship with my mother. I was afraid she was going to pass away. So I came to sort of complete that, and I kind of got sucked into being here. And although I was able to complete things with her, I'm still here because I basically haven't got myself together financially.
So why have you not gone and get a job so you can earn money to get out of this situation that seems to be holding you back?
Well, I've been trying to do the online stuff. I live out in the country and I don't have transportation. So.
And you have no way to make yourself out of a future.
To make myself out of a future?
You have no way of making a new future right now because you have no income coming in.
Well, I do kind of have a big a sense of what I want to do in terms of a big vision for what I want to do here.
Listen, before we get into big vision, we got to understand why you are in this reduction mode of yourself, where you're not storing stuff for your future. You're not holding things and objects. You're not growing your life around yourself. You're in a state where you're using yourself as general labor to pay for general labor. Okay? You're not going to grow. You're not going to grow in this situation. And you've got to do whatever you can do to get whatever help you can get so you can get out of living in the country and living in a city where you can get yourself a job and begin to start earning some cash and beginning to grow for yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All those dreams, cardings, all that stuff, you need clients. Well, how many clients are you going to get on the farm?
None.
None. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
But over the next 5 or 6 months, if you learn to use those cards effectively, meaning you read yourself 5 or 6 times in a day and you do it serious, I'm just going to flip a card or do this or do that, whatever it's going to be, you got to give yourself a serious session.
Oh, it's not the tarot card. It's just astrology, couples astrology.
I get what it is. Doesn't matter. Instead of the cards, it's astrology. It's you're still referencing a book, right?
Internet research.
Okay. It's still referencing something.
Right.
It's you knowing the familiarity to the reference. That's how you can make pattern recognitions in the concepts.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would be a good idea for you to go and pick up a set of cards. Also use a set of rune stones. Learn to mix the two systems or 3 systems together.
I do like mixing.
Yeah, but you got to learn individually how effectively they are on an individual level so that you can learn to mix them as a master.
Right.
And then you got to learn to do your daily practice. If you want to be operating in the spiritual world, you have to have spiritual hygiene practices that make you able to do it. Otherwise, you're going to get hijacked by people's shit really fast.
Yeah, I already do.
Well, then all the more time for you to start putting the effort into the spiritual processes and start fortifying your energy fields. Stop letting things just jump into your energy field and take things from you.
Yeah. For sure.
Okay. Just because you have dreams doesn't mean they're going to come true without your own effort behind them. And that's something you got to start telling. You got to start telling yourself. Okay. Do you have anybody that can help you get out of there and get settled somewhere else?
Yeah, I met somebody online. I'm kind of creating a friendship relationship.
But you don't have anybody, you don't have any family left over to call them
on? Well, I am with family.
Okay.
That's my mom and family here. Yeah.
Okay. So you're essentially doing work there and not getting paid, and there's no chance for you to start earning money there. They're not going to pay you for what you do. Okay.
No, definitely not.
Not going to pay you for what you do. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So what are you going to do to change that?
Well, I started practicing a little bit of coaching with somebody the other day. And that felt good. That felt like even though I did it really badly, at least it was something. And that's kind of why I'm calling in now too, because it's like I got to start doing something and try stuff.
The thing is, you shouldn't be practicing on something you don't know yet. You got to learn to do it first. Okay? You got to learn to coach yourself out of this situation that you're in, so that when you start doing for others, it has your direct energy behind it instead of other people's concepts. What have you learned from it? If you're still experiencing it, you don't know what you've learned from it. How can you teach it?
Right. I like the idea of putting my energy into it. That's
Okay.
true.
Okay. So you got to start writing down some of the things and experiences that you've gone through that become teachable for others. You got to start putting your brain. You got to start putting your brain to work and start creating something. Documents long term that aren't 1 and 2 pages anymore, but 5 and 10 and 20 pages of your notes. Okay, how to do this.
Okay, that is something that I've kind of been doing. So yeah.
Okay. What's your spirit? What type of spiritual practices do you do?
I'm not really focusing on that right now. I did some contract revocations for a while, but I don't have the, like you say frequently, the persistence in doing it. And
Why?
I get kind of
why?
hijacked by what?
Why?
I get hijacked. I get hijacked into other people's energy.
You let yourself get hijacked into them. Let's be honest.
Right. I do.
And
yeah.
You can't carve out 15 minutes a day to do something for yourself?
Oh, I should be able to do that.
But right now you've given up so much that you don't even have 15 minutes to give away, to give to that process. So you can maintain a basic effort towards it. Okay? Get what I'm saying? You honor it more by practicing it more.
I think I can do 15 minutes.
Yes, you can. And I call that C+ effort. It's 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Okay? That's C+ effort. Okay? Okay, 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week is B+. Yes, 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week is B+ effort. 90 minutes a day, 6 days a week is A+ effort. Okay? You gotta start giving back to yourself.
Right, I did give up.
Okay? It will make you so much better in all these things and ideas that you want to go out and do.
Point taken. Gotcha.
Okay? Now you're in the now what stage. Now what means action. Do something. Activate one's energies. Learn how to hustle. Okay, it's time for you to figure out how to save some money up and move the hell out to somewhere that's going to be far more beneficial for your growth. And have a job that keeps you balanced enough so you can maintain that place.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. You in any kind of relationship?
Potentially talking with somebody.
Okay. So it's just a talk energy? When's the last time you were in a relationship?
6 years, 6.5 years.
Long time ago.
Right.
What happened?
Well, we were compatible for a long time. We stayed together 8 years. And there was a lot of addiction and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
mm-hmm.
I wasn't the greatest partner either, probably. So it just was kind of time to end that.
Okay. How much have you grown since then?
A lot.
So when will you be healed enough for you can date somebody else?
Hopefully I am now. I might have this person come visit. They're intending to come visit.
Okay. Any other questions you want to ask me?
I think that's good for now.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot for
Thank
calling in. We'll
you.
move on. We'll move on to the next caller.
Thank you.
All right, Robert. Let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who's next.
Alrighty, Eric Langerman.
Eric Langerman, are you there?
Yes.
Hi. Where are you calling from?
Near Buffalo, New York area.
Buffalo, New
State.
York. Welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about today?
I had some questions. Like, been trying to find different shows that been listening to a couple, many months now. I'm surprised I didn't hear about you before, but I was interested in it. I wanted to talk more about like a science question.
Okay.
I like the Galactic history shows, but I don't think you've really delved into the questions that had to do with like chemistry and physics and cosmology. So
Okay, ask away. Yeah, absolutely.
So so when you have the different systems like atomic and then solar system, galactic system, universal system, all of creation, if you go the other way to the small, what are they called?
The microverse versus the macroverse. And there are many cycles of micro to macro, macro to micro that go on that say the planet is the micro of a galaxy. Okay.
Oh.
Or there are microorganisms within a planet. Beings living on a planet are a micro within a micro. That's the downward perception. Then there's the macro, inner Earth beings with a greater capacity to reach dimensions and densities that will affect the perception of the celestial frequency broadcast throughout all out time space, which is a galactic time frequency instead of a local time frequency.
Okay. I mean, once you get to the atomic system, then the next level below that would be like subatomic, like electrons and protons, neutrons, stuff type that. Is that what it's called?
So that is that level, but there's more to it than the fundamental makeups. So you're looking at micro. When you're down to that level of just on the edge of being the quantum, the infinite, where there are still structures that are perceivable, platonics and non-platonics and elemental frequencies that have different electromagnetic frequencies and ratios in them that allow them to produce energy during a allotted frequency of time. So they're there for the living beings. They're a part of a holographic makeup that is a form real and still spiritually perceived as a greater hologram, because this is understanding the lens of perceptions now. And a spirit can be in a body and simultaneously perceive many different levels of awareness.
Yeah, but I guess so. I mean, say you have like a hydrogen atom. It's when you look into it, what's it really made of, other than what science is saying it's made out of? Kind of
Well,
like
we
what
create.
Walter
First thing first is we create our own reality. So there are fundamentals that our souls have used over and over again, and these are called shared reality rules. Okay. Planets have a certain frequency of them that's been used and reused over the many millions of years, that there's an innate instinct in life about what a planet is or it isn't. So there's a set of protocols that are used to determine the levels of conscious frequency that exists in an area. So an atom of hydrogen here may be very abundant, but in another space, very, very minute, which will alter the perceptions and the growths of life.
Okay.
Okay. And there are everything you can think of what's on the periodic scales. It's an infinite thing. It's an infinite process. It's about what's available during your time-space equation, and do elements travel through time? And the answer is yes. That's why we are a massive energy harvesting system. We can pull things out of the etheric side of the universe and turn them into harvestable resources.
Oh, okay. So is there 9 octaves of elements then?
No, there's thousands of octaves of elements. We can only perceive 9 in these particular bodies, even though these bodies, when activated, can perceive many, many more.
Oh, okay. So there's 9 is, so you know who Walter Russell was?
Yep, I do. I'm familiar
his
with his teachings. Yeah.
Yeah, for years I've been trying to interpret what he says. Sometimes he says there's 9 octaves of elements, and sometimes there's 10. I guess it depends on how you interpret.
Well, what I say is we have 7 colors of perception here, and all the colors of perception have an electromagnetic value here. Okay. There's also what I call an 8th color coming to our perception. That's how much of a radical change of consciousness it'll be. And it'll be a color that has a frequency of time attached to it, which shows the fundamental change from the duality we live into how the singularity works into the duality to make the triality, the triad of the consciousness that's experiencing this realm, the middle realm, and the upper realms at the same time. And it does not need to compete with itself.
Oh, so there's actually thousands of octaves of elements, atomic elements, and
yes,
but the ones in this that we perceive in our physical bodies is just 9. Then
correct, which then defines the reality through all of the shared reality rules. How our DNA interacts with an environment at a subconscious level.
Okay, so. Yeah, I was just trying to figure out like atomic structure and how, because I think there's a lot missing in what they teach you in schools. And
absolutely, there's a lot missing about the nature of nature of reality. But they have to begin including consciousness as an aspect of the nature and the creation of the nature. And until it does, it's going to be a very difficult compartmentalized thing to understand. Consciousness is every much of a part of the octaves of nature. And it's a part of it as a conscious choice.
Okay. Yeah. So, and also Kenneth Kellick, are you familiar with who he is?
No. Tell me about him.
He's like a psychic. He could look at light, and he was like a teacher, and he there was a book written by another lady in Michigan, Mary Hardy, and he describes the clocking motion of a tachyon particle, moves in a certain way, like it's the equivalent of the rain dance of the Hopi Indians, where you move 2/3 clockwise, then back 1/3.
Okay, I understand. I understand this. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to. Is that the tachyon like the smallest unit of motion or particle of light, I guess?
So a better way to describe it is a tachyon is how is it affected by kinetic energy. Now, there are certain devices that can increase and decrease kinetic energy exponentially. So is the object itself resistant to kinetic force or not resistant to kinetic force? And that will determine how it affects this reality.
Okay.
So kinetic manipulation and gravitic manipulations are very much a part of it.
I see. Is the tachyon, is that like the bottom level of?
No, there's stuff below it.
There is. That's what I was wondering. How many levels of what I'm
as many as you're ready to perceive as part of a greater system that uses micro to macro to the infinite.
Okay. I'm just trying to narrow like down to a number, like
there is no single number to limit infinity.
It's an infinite, so it gets smaller.
It's an infinite process, right? That's why consciousness has to be integrated into those teachings, so you can understand the nature of infinity and how it breathes, moves, and changes.
I see. So I guess when I get to that level of understanding where I can explore what those different levels look like, it would have to be like in the higher dimension, like a 4th or 5th dimensional being or something.
No, you could have that experience on a medicine journey, easy.
Oh, okay.
There are often times you get macro and micro sight as part of the nature of the experience. And it's a matter of, are you going to take it in, perceive it, allow it, not be afraid of it?
Oh, okay.
See, modern science is in effect blissfully ignorant of how its control frequencies create control within their frequency. And having a co-creative experience with a medicine is a give and take. It's like masters that have learned how to dance with each other. There's ups and downs and in-betweens instead of it being lagging into something that can become destructive or confusing.
Okay. So do the Hopi Indians actually dance the way the tachyon moves in order to create like a standing wave of energy to bring down rain from the sky? And
the answer is yes. But the thing is, they've learned how to use their consciousness and plug into the weather frequencies and the electromagnetic background of the planet to create all of the necessary aspects of rain. That is a magical process as well as a technical process. The DNA has the capacity to interact with this nature of reality to have a completely balanced aspect, because the weather currently, as it exists right now, is the uncollective of everyone trying to come together and be a collective. That is where some of the greatest visions of psychic can be created, is understanding the nature of weather. And that's the uncollective side. And our will is the collective to come together as a unity frequency on this planet. That's why weather warfare is so effective at separating human beings from human beings.
I see.
In the ancient past, it wasn't just the Hopis who could bring the rain. It was anybody. They learned how to interact with their local bubble of reality.
Yeah, they were using their consciousness plus doing the dance, I guess.
Correct.
Bring the
And
rain
more,
down.
honoring sacred energy, et cetera, making sure the energy of the place is producing light and not stealing light.
Oh, okay. And I think you've talked about the hollow earth before. It's like the shell of the earth is like 800 miles thick, basically, of our planet right now.
No. So there, believe it or not, there's actually a layer of diamond before the outer crust layer. Did you know that?
No, never heard that.
You can go and search it online, and anybody that wants to. Diamond layer on the inside of the earth. Google search it for like that, or search it for like that, and you'll come across an article that's confirming through geological records that there's like 1.5 miles thick layer of diamonds that separate the outer crust from the inner crust. Okay. And that's me from the galactic history telling people that this is the most fortified planet in all of the universe psychically. That's why the inner earth is so effective of a concept. So the outer structure and the inner structure, there are beings who have learned how to live in between the space of atoms. So they can occupy no space and yet be huge volumes of living beings down there, because they don't need time and space as a dimension for existence. And there are other beings who are actually in physical holes down there, but they're also in a micro-compressed hologram that allows for a denser production of light in their bubble of reality, because the hollow earth nurtures denser frequencies of light within that internal diamond structure.
Oh, so how many miles down is that diamond layer?
I believe it's like 600 miles.
600? And then is that, how far down then does it go toward the center of the earth?
I don't remember. You'll have to look in the article.
Oh, I mean, just from the structure of the earth in general, like, is there a hollow area?
So you can't think of the internals of the planet as linear. It's a multidimensional frequency, and linear doesn't apply. It's not a 2D internal structure. It's a 7D internal structure.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
And that's after the initial crust, which is the first initial 6 to 10 miles. Then everything else goes through a compression process. And what it takes for consciousness to be at that higher compression, because that means you have to be able to produce more light inside there, because that's communicative consciousness light, which adds into the internal realm's light production. So the level of consciousness in a particular area produces the needed light to grow plants and animals and all those other things that are at that compressed micro bubble.
I see. I guess I'm just trying to understand more, like what the Zorro, how it's
I do not put anything into Zora's work, unfortunately. I think he lost it a long time ago.
Is he a real being that's from Hollow Earth, or?
I don't want to say anything positive or negative other than what I just said.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks. Do I still have more
I
questions?
gotta let you go, man. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks a
It
lot
was
for your
good.
time.
Good.
I
Just good
appreciate-
talking to you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks. Then-
Robert, is Bruce back?
Let me check. I just made him co-host. Bruce, can you unmute?
Hello.
Do 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 do.
We do. Do 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 do.
Send him a signal to unmute.
He's probably not there. He probably went off to do something. And no Monty right now?
Bruce, you there? His mic's unmuted. Monty's not here.
Okay. Well, then let's just call it an end to the show today.
Okie doke.
All right, then, everybody. We will be back.
I'm here. I'm here.
You made it.
I've been here the whole time. I just had some technical difficulties.
Oh, that iPhone 13 not working for you, huh?
No. I'm on the Lenovo ThinkPad with Linux Mint 19. So don't blame my precious iPhone Mini 13, please.
So we're going to blame your sacred Linux now.
Yeah, anything it imports like Skype, Zoom it's not going to work as well as it does on Mac or PC or Windows. Great show, very powerful.
Thank you.
I'm really enjoying these shows. I feel like almost I can get something from any call. Like there's something there that applies to me, right? I mean, because we all basically have the same shit going on, right? It's just where
it's just different extremes of it.
Yeah.
To me, there's the four basic, shitty things we go through. Okay. And then the four things that creates with inside that, and the four things that it creates inside that. So really it's understanding the 16 things that go wrong with people.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's all about choice. It's all about choice.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't make the choice to go to Costa Rica, where would you be now?
I'd be in a completely different state of mind. I'm not sure where. I'd probably be in the west end of Toronto or downtown Toronto physically.
You would have been in the march. Would you have been in the marching?
Yeah, I definitely would have.
Yeah, you would have. Yeah, you would have. Yeah. You would have been Rebel News.
Yeah. I would have done it. But here I am, an observer, and I like this position I'm in.
So. Dictator Trudeau has rescinded his own powers before the vote.
Yeah. Well, I've read a lot of good press on that. Some people say he didn't want the Senate to weigh in because it was going to be scathing. He achieved his goals, but there's two parts to that. So the police powers have been lifted, but the financial transaction emergency powers, the powers he gave to the banks, are still in place. And there is talk they're permanent now.
But there's no vote. How you can't just that's got to be it's going to be challenged in court. That's what it is.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Yeah,
1,000,001 organizations have filed lawsuits. Have you noticed this theme of unity now? So like Trudeau and the trucker protest kind of in many ways unified entities that were separate like 3 weeks ago, like the Civil Liberties Association and far right group, what they call far right groups, which are, let's be honest, I mean, the right now has just come to be nationalism, but you throw white in front of that and it's a dirty word, white nationalism. But I'm a nationalist and I'm white and I'm a national, and I take a lot of shit for supporting Trump, but look, I find his personality as repugnant as anyone, and I know that he's all greased up with a lot of dirty people and a lot of deals like everybody else. But the simple fact of the matter is he had me when he said, I'm not signing the Trans-Pacific Partnership and I'm not signing the Paris Accord. It's got nothing to do. It's about maintaining a nation state as the basis of manageable participation in a collective. When it goes global, there's just going to be no sense of being a part of anything. There's new kinds of depression are going to come about.
Right. See, there's no counter to the World Economic Forum.
No.
That has no competition. No. And no billionaires are going to support or be allowed to support an alternative to it.
Yeah.
Which means it lays solely at the people's feet. And they have to individually pick it up and make it into something.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That means everyone's individual creations, be it business or document or book or speech, whatever it is, your input begins to change the greater message.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. There's going to be lawsuits galore to come about this. And then ultimately, does this finish Trudeau? Is there longer reaching effects? Are they going to call for a snap election?
Well, that's another thing that came out, is that he made the vote in the House of Parliament, anyways, not the Senate, but he told the opposition parties a vote against the Emergency Measures Act is a vote for an immediate election, and he wasn't bluffing. He's done this once already. He called his second election. He called only 3 years into his mandate. We go 5 in Canada, not 4 like the U.S. Right? So he's real good at politicking, or the people around him are real good at politicking. And it's a kind of a crass opportunism, though, given the circumstances. And this is a trademark of him and his father. I mean, we've talked about this on air before, Andrew. You asked me to cite some characteristics of the French and their penchant for authority. They're absolutely brilliant at this velvet-gloved authoritarianism. What Trudeau did in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, is really no different than what we used to see going on in Eastern Europe 30, 40 years ago. But people don't see it that way. He has this ability to always maintain his public image amongst his core people. But anyways, enough.
So
about that.
do you think his choice to rescind his emergency powers has anything to do with the fact that America is trying to push war in Ukraine harder than they've ever done before?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
They had to make that story go away, because now there's threatening trucker protests to arrive in Washington, D.C. on the 5th of March.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that threaten the swamp?
Yes.
Okay. Why is the swamp afraid?
Yeah, I don't know. Why don't you flesh that out? That's an excellent question. I could come up with an answer, but I don't think it would be as good as yours.
Okay. So let's define a swamp citizen, a swamp creature.
Yeah.
One who has sold their soul to the corporate interaction with government, and the corporations define the government, who's inside the government, because they're the ones that fill it up. They're the professionals that are working at the professional level, and they get the recommendation to take those jobs and sit at those cabinet levels. Okay.
Yeah.
Which are MBA type personalities generally.
Yeah.
Technocrats and bureaucrats.
Yeah.
Okay. So those swamp creatures all have a desire to have what? To retire at 55.
Yeah.
Have their GS-20 pay grades, their regular thing. They live within 30 minutes of getting to their job, be it Virginia or Washington, D.C. Okay. They have a level of protection against the local cops.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are the swamp creatures.
It's entitled living. Yeah, absolutely.
Entitled living. So those that are in the government entitled living class are afraid of some truckers.
Yeah.
What did the truckers teach the city of Ottawa?
Life happens. You can't plan it.
Okay, especially in 30 degree below weather, one of the biggest marches you've ever seen in peaceful history. Okay?
Yeah.
They had bouncy castles there.
Those
terrorist bouncy castles.
Yeah, I mean they put something up there in Ottawa comparable to Barnum Bailey Circus. The efficiency was astounding, actually.
Yeah.
So what Trudeau will do to discourage people is he is going to make something of an example of the leaders. They're going to suffer a little bit, not horribly, but it'll probably be months, maybe weeks, but probably months in jail. And then some kind of little slap on the wrist that lets them go free, but tags them everywhere they go for the rest of their life. like
Yeah.
for any kind of
That's
licensed employment.
that's the swamp creature's revenge. So
Absolutely.
you're seeing the swamp creatures in Canada, okay, or the snow creatures, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
The winter swamp creatures are going to do their bidding up there.
Mhm.
Okay. What
Yeah,
made this?
absolutely.
Why did they lose their shit so fast?
Well, it's the sense of entitlement in that city and predictability and it's a sense of law and order on steroids, right? It's like capital cities are generally very, very orderly. Everything is a notch up. The cab drivers, the pizza shops, everything. Okay.
Mhm.
I shouldn't talk like an expert. It's not like I have visited a half dozen of the world's capitals, but I've read about them, seen them, in popular culture and novels and stuff, and I have a sense of them. And I grew up in Ottawa, so like everything, it's a Swiss clock, man. A capital city is a Swiss clock,
Mhm. Yes.
and there's no horror stories. Oh, so and so lost. So and so's dad lost his job, and the family is in a real bad. You never hear that in Ottawa. Never, never, right? Maybe some Lebanese friend I had in the 70s, their seventh restaurant failed and they just started another seventh and an eighth and went on to make even more money, but nothing compared to like what I've experienced living in other parts of the world and Toronto. But yeah.
So let's get back to pushing Ukraine now. So we have a settled energy in the Canadian experience, not done, but it's settling. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen in Ukraine?
Well, I think it's already happened. I think it's that swift and that efficient. I don't think the Ukrainians are going to fight back that much because everybody has an innate understanding of what reasonable conflict is and whether there's a chance of winning. And I don't think I don't think Putin is trying to resurrect the Soviet Union. I think that
me neither.
Well, no, he's fully committed to a monetary system, right? This is why he's vulnerable to economic sanctions. I mean, they weren't vulnerable to sanctions in 1982 because they had a completely insulated monetary and financial system. Right.
That wasn't a part of SWIFT.
Absolutely. And they're not even shutting down SWIFT.
Right.
I mean, come on.
I know.
So you want
that's when when they want to get serious. Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm afraid to say what I really think. Maybe another show. But I don't think this is really about the Ukraine. I think it's more about Western Europe and North America. And these sanctions are going to be harder on Western Europe and North America than they are on the Russians. Right. Wait do you see? And look, look at the alignment of agendas. Okay, so Biden comes in. What did I say like 5 minutes ago? Trans-Pacific Partnership and Paris Accord. Biden comes in, his first day of office, he signed those two documents. Okay, shuts down all the energy industry that Trump started. Here we are. What is it? A year and 2 months later. Look at the problem. Look at the problem. Energy dependence from Russia. I was reading today that even Canada imports $500 million of oil a year from Russia, right? So they're giving everybody, everybody oil. So I don't know. There's something rotten about this. There seems to be some synergy between some bad players. I know that Klaus Schwab speaks very fondly of Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin seems to be in that fold. So then, look, folks, if you haven't figured it out yet, the name of the game for the people who want the Great Reset is not to put out a compelling manifesto that gives you concrete ideas about why this is a better way to go forward in the 21st century. Because it's not. If everybody knew what was coming, nobody would want this. So what they're doing is they're deliberately shutting down Western economies, and they're going to make them look like failures. And then when our economies fail, nobody will lend us money anymore, or the value of our note is so ridiculous that you can't gauge the price of a loaf of bread from a Monday to a Friday. That's when they're going to come in and they're going to seek, just like the jab, they're going to seek your consent for the Great Reset, but not until they get you into a desperate state.
So ultimately, they have to be able to sell us a corporate bailout that has somewhat of a normal person bailout. But at the end of the normal person bailout, the normal person won't own anything because there's going to be one massive corporation that's taken on the debt, and the people are the actual collateral of the debt.
Yeah. So I really, when you look at the bankruptcy we've talked about before that happened in 1933, I really don't know what this new one does. What is that like?
No, it allows you to create derivatives through debt.
All right. So 89 years later, we're having another major global bankruptcy. We're going to have another major global bankruptcy.
Well, no. It's already happened. They just haven't allowed it to play out on the books yet.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Because I've been, been saying, everybody who says China's going to be at war, China's doing nothing until they figure out Evergrande. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're doing nothing until they figure out Evergrande. And then this last year, 2021 was natural disaster after natural disaster after natural disaster from flooding inside China. They have a lot of money to put into that infrastructure.
Yeah.
Okay. And if they don't fix it, the next flood season's going to be even worse.
So I'm not sure a lot of people know this, but just physically, geographically, and the way they built and the way they laid things out, China is one of the most vulnerable countries in the world. Mm-hmm. A single well-placed, non-nuclear, not even a micro nuke, just a single well-placed Tomahawk missile. One missile could kill 400 million people.
Easy.
In China.
Yeah. Three Gorges Dam.
You nailed it. And you know what? The North American and European engineers told them 25 years ago, don't do this. Mm-hmm. He even tried to counsel them on their own national security. So, look, these people who think this is going to break out into a world war and all this, it's just nonsense, okay? And, and I don't think Russia wants any more satellite territories. And this was all provocation from the West, okay? This was provoked and provoked and provoked and provoked. Yeah. And there was no honest dialogue, right? So there you go.
Yeah, but they also got tricked into a system where they could have used, because they had to flood lots of cities to actually make Three Gorges Dam work. And if they had gone a different route and used the river-based tidal generators, where you actually make your own concrete river adjacent to the river at a different altitude, so that you can actually create a downward sucking motion, and then use an impeller-based system. And then it's a bunch of small power plants spread throughout the whole thing. Yeah. Instead of one big giant one.
Yeah.
And they could have done that for cheaper, but they got sucked into this big journey, because they were going to be doing nuclear powers at the same time. Like, China has a lot of issues with its coal-driven power plants, and then its nuclear power plants too. Not that they're inferior. They're fine. It's just they got to figure out what to do with their waste, just like everyone else.
Yeah. Look, another thing again. When I speak to people and I call into shows like this, I feel it necessary to remind people. Although I'm in really good company tonight with Robert and other people in this group on your call, but I'm one of the best traveled people you're ever going to meet. And I've lived in other parts of the world, and living is 2 years minimum. Okay. So I've done it in the Far East. I've done it in Central America. Nobody, and I mean nobody, makes movies the way, if you grow up in the United States, you think everybody's your enemy, starting with Patrick Swayze and Red Dawn in the 90s. And, it's just, nobody else is doing that. Nobody else is doing that. Okay. So this panic of the paranoid panic of the insomniac prince, because he can't sleep from worry, has become the American consciousness, right? And it's just, nobody wants war, and war is not going to come. And another show we can get into all the reasons why the people running Ukraine now are really scummy and deserve to be displaced.
Yeah, but they're also going against America now.
Yeah.
It's total chaos. It's total chaos there now, which allows the neocons to get their rocks off for a little bit. Yeah. That means they're gonna get some government contracts and military contracts out of this, little thing. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
Okay, then I'm gonna ask if when Ukraine turns out to be a nothing burger, what next?
Well, I don't know. I think at some point,
do the trucks arrive? Does Ukraine end before the 5th of March?
What happens on the 5th of March?
That's when the trucks arrive in Washington, D.C., supposedly.
Oh, no.
Five different freedom convoys spread throughout all different cities.
Oh, yeah, man. That's incredible. So, no, I don't think Ukraine will be finished. It'll be fully controlled. I imagine there will be a cessation of all combat in the next 36 hours, except for maybe a few holdout groups. But, special forces and that stuff, they're really useful when they're inserted and extracted from somewhere.
This is proxy wars at a different level.
Yeah. So So without that insertion and extraction, like a 16-man special forces team, 16-person special forces team, it's not going to be as effective. And we'll just see, and we'll just see what happens. But
if they have air support, they'll be fine.
Ukraine?
If there's air support, yeah.
Who would police a no-fly zone?
Doesn't matter about policing a no-fly zone. Ukraine has enough right now that it could offer a form of resistance from long-distance missiles. It just doesn't have a large volume of them or enough pilots to sustain a long air battle. Okay, and the same thing with the Russians. They don't have the pilots to sustain a longer air. They have more pilots than Ukraine, yes, but they can't sustain an air war. The whole reason you had no-fly zones, it wasn't one country enforcing it. It was dozens of countries enforcing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm seeing the most interesting tweet I've seen related to the Ukraine. So the Louis C.K. show in Kiev has not been canceled. It will be going forward on February 25th and 26th. Do not worry, folks. You do not have to change your tickets. You do not have to go in for a refund. Oh my God. Yeah. So, yeah, weird time, man. Weird time. It's the absence of leadership that is really becoming noticeable now, because most of these leaders are just fitting into some other narrative. They're not really coming at things from a unique perspective and the genuine desire to lead.
That's right.
So there's my 2 cents worth.
Well, that was a beautiful 2 cents.
Thank you.
Well, I think we're gonna. Has Monty showed back up? Robert?
Monty is not in the room.
So no Monty today. All right, then let's call it an end to the show today. We will be back next Friday for a comedy show, and we will have a blast then. Until then, keep on trucking, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Each different bubble of reality is true. A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma. Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail. Improvise. Mysterious. It's counter psychic intelligence. Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important? Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.
Hello, let's create, let's co-create, and let's change this world with love. No matter if you're from Alpha Centauri or Earth, we all began with the same birthing process. We live in a limited point of view. Living the mystical life daily is about striving for the unlimited point of view. Each day, each human being gets an infinite amount of choices. living the mystical life daily is about facing obstacles and challenges. The level of awareness that you are working at means you have a responsibility to be equal with it. How does one truly let go of expectation? You can make the moment that you wake up to the moment you go to sleep sacred. The keys to success: choice, 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 and choice.